extent. But we will have fun together. So, two quick things before we get started. So, today is part of a big national thing called the National Day of Civic Hacking. And so, how many people think that has a negative connotation? How many people think that's dangerous, evil, breaking into government systems? How many people carry that approach when they hear the word hacker? Does it mean something negative to you? A little bit?
Not anymore.
That's pretty awesome. That's a big deal because people still push back hard. So the origin of the term hacking, as far as we can trace it, goes back to World War II when the engineers and mechanics were working on aircraft and they had to hacksaw off pieces of damaged planes and put it on other planes. So essentially what it means is taking something, doing a dodgy job but an awesome job, of taking it, putting it, reworking it, making it happen and making something amazing from things that maybe weren't meant to make that amazing thing. And it can be as simple as doing what we're doing today. And so civic hacking is not about fixing aircraft, it's about fixing our cities. And that can be everything from making new technology, building new websites, or taking a different approach to hacking the idea of how people find information about their city government. And that's what we're all doing today. So we are part of this White House-sponsored National Day of Civic Hacking. And we are actually today being civic hackers together. Doesn't mean we should all go around calling ourselves civic hackers on a regular job because that's not our day job maybe. But today you will get to wear the hat of civic hackers. So you're taking part in something that's national. Oakland, because Oakland is unique and awesome. We're doing something different. We're not making new technology, we're making a new information service for our city and for our citizens. So that's all I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to hand off to Nicole to cover. So before I introduce our keynote speaker for the morning, I wanted to make a couple of quick recognitions. There's a lot of, in the US, there's a lot of press that isolates government and public and community members. And today is a day where we actually get to recognize and respect our government workers because people from the city that volunteer to spend today here are coming and spending a Saturday in a city where they've taken furlough days and where they've had lots of pay issues and have had lots of time off issues. It's not an easy city to be a government employee because there's not a lot of love for government employees in Oakland and in this country. And that's something that Open Oakland we think is wrong. We want to change that. We want people to love their government. As Jen likes to say, we want people to have the same loving relationship and excited relationship that they have with their iPhone. You love your technology. You should be able to love your government. It should be able to serve you better. And so can all the city government staff that are in the room stand up? I want to give you guys a round of appreciation for spending a day with us, for the work that you do. And then lastly, I want to just do a quick shout out to someone that's been a pretty amazing inspiration for me as far as thinking through things differently, stepping back and thinking about things, and showing that things can be done differently. And I want to announce, I want to give a lot of praise and thank you to Jen Parker, who's founder and CEO of Code for America. She's an amazing person. And as of tomorrow, Oakland has a mole in the White House. Jen's going to be Deputy Chief Technology Officer for the federal government. So we now have a pretty awesome person. Oakland has so many more awesome people, right? It's a pretty cool city. So we have a really great speaker now that's going to talk to us a little bit about why interaction with government matters and why design matters and why what people's user experiences are like really matters for government and for community. So I want to introduce the user experience evangelist. How many people have ever heard of that as a title before? Pretty awesome. The fun thing about the tech world is we do get to make our own titles a little bit, and that's pretty awesome. I did that too. So I want to introduce Sid Harrell from Code for America to give us a rundown on what this is about and why this stuff matters. Thank you, Sid.
Thanks, guys. I'll sort of talk as I'm walking down the aisle here. Good. So, it's all going to be a shout list. So when Steve talked about how hacking began, I want to know how many people, is this your first day being a civic hacker ever? How many of you have another layer on top of that idea that hacker is the bad guy breaking into the government systems? That if it's not the bad guy, it's certainly somebody who codes. Does anybody have that?
Something involved.
Yeah. So
Sid, can you speak up a
Can
little
you
bit?
speak louder or get a microphone?
sure thing.
Okay, thanks.
So I had that perception too. For a long time, time, this sort of civic hacking event has been going on, but often it was people getting together to code things for government. And I just think, well, can't I get in on the fun? And the answer is, in fact, we're testament to it today. And what we're doing here in Oakland today is based on an event in Honolulu last July, where they held a hackathon without any coding. And it was very much like this. They had about 80 or 100 citizens come together and answer 120 of the top questions that were getting asked by people who were visiting the Honolulu City website. And at the time, the Honolulu City website looked like this. And you can still find this site. It's a classic mid to late 90s era design, right? Difficult to find your way around. And after these people got together, they had city officials attending, much like we have all of you who just stood up in attendance today. They had great support from the community. They wrote together, they talked together, they figured out which questions were most important, and they wrote answers in plain language. The site was transformed into something that looks like this, where you can ask a simple question and get a simple answer, get a quick link. This was a really important transformation, not in technology, so much as in the citizen experience, in the experience of what it's like to be governed in the city of Honolulu. And I wanted to share one other transformation study, which is one other transformation story, which is how I got interested in civic design after being in the user experience field for a long time. And now I have to admit that I am actually a San Francisco resident, but I'm here in Oakland today. A couple of years ago, I was driving through Golden Gate Park, where we don't have quite such beautiful weather as this. We had heavy fog, and it was down to the ground, and I had my 6-year-old daughter in the back of the car. And as we passed down one of the roads in the park, there were sprinklers just spraying water onto the road. And this little voice pipes up from my first grader and says, "Mommy, that's a huge waste of water." I said, "Yep, yeah it is." And she said, "Well, we should do something." And I said, yeah, sure. I have no idea what we can do about this. And she said, "Well, we should call somebody." I said, "Great, I'm going to go through the phone book of city departments in San Francisco. I'm going to have to try to figure out which one is responsible for the sprinklers in Golden Gate Park." I have no idea. But I had recently heard that San Francisco had adopted this 311 thing, where you could call in any issue to one number. And I heard as well that you could do it via Twitter. And I had my phone, so I said, "Okay, sweetie, we'll pull over," of course, because I wouldn't dream of tweeting while driving. And we pulled over, and I tapped out by the side of the road this little message exactly. And I felt really good, actually, because we had been able to do something, and I was already much more satisfied at this point. The fact that I had a channel to interact with my city about a little issue of waste, right? Not something hugely important, but something that was bothering me as a community member. But the real magic happened about 45 minutes later when I got back a tweet from them that said, "Thank you, and we're going to look into this, and here's your ticket number." And lo and behold, the next day, we drove through the same park, and we dropped off at the same summer camp, and the sprinklers were off. And I said, "Oh my God." And I started telling everybody I knew about this 311 service. I said, "You guys, they answer it, and they thank you, and they tell you, a ticket number so that you can check on it later." Well, there's a lot of elements of this that make it, in fact, a good design when I thought about it. I, of course, put it through the lens of my own professional training and bent. And there are a lot of reasons. We might think of design as kind of the thing that you put on top of the technology. But there's a lot of design in something as simple as a really respectful and good answering tweet, even though that doesn't contain a picture, even though that doesn't contain really any graphical element that we might think about. So I want to share a civic design failure story. It's probably pretty familiar to you guys. Well, this is the infamous butterfly ballot that was used in Palm Beach County, Florida in the 2000 election. It's a horrible design, straight up. It's extremely hard to read. It's quite confusing. People disagree about the exact impact of this. Some people think it actually changed the result of a national election. Even those who don't agree with that assessment believe that it confused a lot of people and caused a lot of citizens to do an unintentional vote. high-stakes environments. So what are we talking about when we're talking about design? I said it's not just graphics. It's not just pretty things on the top. My favorite illustration of what this all is, this is from a blogger called Ed Lee, not the current mayor of San Francisco. I'm not sure if you can read the little headers in the corner here. But the idea is, I will read them for you. So over to your left, we have lined up all of the elements of a breakfast, right? And this says that this is the product. If you wanted to produce this product, you would need all of these elements. You need a bowl, you need the different kinds of cereal, you need the raisins, you need the milk. Well, and that is not all there is, though, to cereal. If I handed you this, you would say, come on, this is breakfast. So the thing at the top here, this is the user experience of breakfast. This is how you actually experience it, consume it. And you can imagine if it's a website, then it's the user experience is what's in fact presented to you. This right here is the user interface. This is the piece that you use in order to interact with it. Now, in my opinion, in this picture, this actually isn't a great user interface because I'm usually in a rush at breakfast and I'm a much bigger spoon to shovel that cereal into my mouth before I have to be out the door. But this is kind of a framework for thinking about what we're doing with design and how it can be important. So when we think about the experience of government and our interactions with government, we kind of have those two components. We have, we have the features, which maybe are analogous to some policies. Then we have what it's actually like to go down and pay a parking ticket, or to go and get a business permit, or any of the many interactions that we can have with government on a daily basis. And then we have the mechanism, which is the spoon. And there's another important ethic to design, in particular for citizens, and that's the idea that the people who are using something are okay. Whatever they're doing, whether it's not what we as designers of it or builders of it expected, the people are fine. It's always incumbent on us to fix the interface, fix the service design, fix whatever it is so that regular people can in fact make good use of it. To oversimplify a little bit, right? Design is something that mediates how you can do anything. You can have a lot of extremes about that case of paying a parking ticket. So suppose that there is a parking ticket truck that drives around, and if I happen to catch it on the street like an ice cream truck, I can hail it and hand it my 20 bucks and ride off into the sunset. That's one way to design that. A website is another way to design that. Me having to leap over a moat full of alligators with my checkbook in my teeth is one more way you could potentially design that. There's a lot of options when you say paying a parking ticket to design how that happens and how that feels to you. And when we're talking about civic design, it's really mediating how a citizen can interact with government. So I'll briefly break down a few of the critical questions that we ask because I think they're relevant to answering some of the questions of citizens that we have today. So look at how to design a good experience, right? One that is not in any way comparable to leaping over a moat of alligators with your checkbook in your teeth. You need to know who you're going to design it for. You need to know what is the essence of the thing that they're doing. If they're paying a parking ticket, it's getting some money to the city and clearing an obligation, right? You need to know what they're using to do it. That's that spoon. You need to know how hard it is. Not for you, but for them. And you can break each of these things down into some component questions, mostly centered around the user themselves. And I'm just going to kneel so you can read the screen while I run through these quickly. So how does the person using it describe the thing? What does it mean to them? And do they actually want to do it? It's really interesting to design for things that people don't really want to do, right? That are like paying a parking ticket, kind of a bummer. You still want to be able to have a continual experience for that. But it's important to know that this isn't something you jump out of bed eager to do. Who might the person be? Someone mentioned the residents in Oakland who may have average or lower than average education. It's important to know that in creating designs for everyone. What are they going to use? Is it in fact a spoon? Is it something familiar that they've used before? Is it a mobile app which is maybe just getting introduced to a lot of people's lives? That's implication for the way that you set something